Hi everyone, this is Lovelin Johnson, and today we are going to be looking at the law of environment from the 15 invaluable laws of growth. Before we get started, I have a question for you. Are you growing or are you just going through the motion? The reason I ask is often growth happens in your discomfort zone, not in your comfort zone. So when you're going through the motion, you are constantly putting yourself in the comfort zone and are in an autopilot mode. And growth doesn't happen in those kind of settings. The law of environment states that growth thrives in a conducive environment. So, what kind of environment are you placing yourself in? Is it conducive for growth? I love this quote by Mark Cain. He states that the first step towards success is when you refuse to be captive to the environment you find yourself in. So you could say that the environment that you're in is not conducive for growth, but you cannot stay captive there. You have a choice. You can get out of that environment because success and failure are often a result of the choices that you make. What choices are you making on a consistent basis to keep yourself in a growth zone, and what are the things that you could do for it? Sometimes when you think about life, there are certain facts that you cannot change. But there are some choices that we can take today to change the environment that we are in. So I cannot go back and change the color of my skin or the parents who raised me or the place of my birth. Those are facts, and I shouldn't be spending any time fixing it. However, I can choose the environment that I'm in. Is the environment being positive? Is it helping me with my growth? Are they helping me to see bigger and better things? Or are they keeping me hostage to the past? And when you have a clear idea of your growth, you will move towards a different environment. There's this critical question in the book. John, when he finds himself early on in his career that he is going to be promoted to the top position, he questions it. Am I the top of my class? And if I am the top of my class, then I am in the wrong class. Have you asked that question to yourself? Because when I think of my past, I would be so excited to be the top of the class. I'd like to talk. I like to share the things that I've learned. But when you're the top of the class, you're only talking. The more you talk, the less you listen. Because of that, you wouldn't have a great growth. So the question is, are you the top of the class? Because if you're on the top of the class, you're probably a big fish in a small pond. You need to place yourself as a small fish in a big pond. You have to change the size of the pond that you're in, because only when you learn, you can grow. So the more you are at the top, the less you grow. The book talks about 6 choices for growth. And today we're going to be touching on 3. Number 1 is assess your environment. What kind of environment are you in? Are you a big fish in a small pond? If so, you have to move to a different pond, because if you are a big fish in a small pond, your growth is stunted. That's all the growth that you could have. But if you move yourself to a bigger pond, there is room for you to grow. So assess your environment. A simple test is, what are the people in your environment doing? Are they looking back to the achievements of the past, or are they excited about the things that they want to do for the future? When they are so forward thinking, that's a good environment. But if people are constantly talking about the good old days and they are glamorizing their past, that means they have nothing that they are excited about for the future, and you know that you are not in a growth environment. But number 2 thing is, change yourself and the environment. Because if you want to change yourself, sure, you can do that. But if you're in the wrong environment, your growth is not going to happen fast. But if you're changing yourself and you're in an attitude of growth, and if you place yourself in an environment where there is growth, everyone is striving towards bigger, better things, then you also will be pushed up because the environment is conducive for your growth. So ask yourself, what kind of environment are you in? The book talks about 10 questions about the current environment you're in to know that if it's a growth environment. Are others ahead of you? Are they forward looking or are they backward looking? Are others enjoying growth? Are they continuously learning and growing? Are they modeling excellence? Do people desire change? Is growth modeled and expected? Do you wake up excited? Do you see failure as an enemy, or do you have the right mindset to look at failure as a learning opportunity? When you answer yes to most of these questions, then you're probably in the growth environment. But if you say no to these questions and others are not growing, the place is not affirming, and you're not excited to wake up, then you're probably not in a growth environment. So I would encourage you to look at yourself and ask these questions so you will have clarity about the environment that you are in. Number three, change who you spend your time with. Your reference group determines 95% of your success. Think about that. If your group is succeeding and you are part of the group, you are bound to succeed. I love this quote by Jim Rohn. He says that you're a combined average of the 5 people you hang around with. So, who are you hanging around with? There are people who keep you hostage to the past, they anchor you to the seabed, and there's no way for you to come up and look at the bright sunlight. You are anchored to the past. So, ask yourself what type of people you're hanging around with. And then there are people who are positive when things are going wonderfully well. And then they become very negative when challenges come their way. And then there are people who are positive regardless of the environment that they are in. If they are facing challenges, they are solution focused, they're looking at the problem and thinking about ways they could solve it. They are not victims of the problem. What kind of people are you hanging around with? Are you hanging around with people who kind of look at the past and living in the past? Are you hanging around with fair weather people who enjoy the good weather and they're happy when things are going well? Or are you hanging around with growth minded people who would never look at a challenge and never be worried about the challenge, but instead would think about the ways to solve it? Because you are the combined average of the 5 people you hang around with. You eat like them, you talk like them, you read like them, you watch the movies and things that they watch, and you start thinking like them. You'd be surprised how much of an impact they have on you. You may think that they probably have no influence because you're constantly reading and equipping yourself. But if you put yourself in a growth minded environment, your odds of winning are higher compared to you staying in a place where people are holding on to the past and are only happy when things are going well for them. So, what are the key takeaways? Assess your environment because your environment tells who you are. 95% of your success is tied to the environment that you are in. So put yourself in a growth environment and don't stay captive or a victim to the environment that you're in. Make a choice, get out of those things. I know it's going to be hard, but you need to ask these questions to see if the people around you are growing, and if they are not, you need to put yourself in places where growth happens, because growth thrives in conducive surroundings. I hope you found this lesson helpful. Next week, we are going to be talking about the law of design. I hope to see you there.